The world of Calvarus hung silent in the twilight of defeat. The air shimmered with the afterburn of orbital bombardments, while shattered towers leaned like broken teeth against a crimson sky. Across the plains, the smoke of burning settlements coiled into the heavens, and the banners of the Var Dominion fluttered in the foul wind, a mark of conquest and cruelty. For years the Dominion had crushed world after world under the cold logic of expansion. The Council of Calvarus had sent pleas for aid into the void, hoping that someone, anyone, would come. They had long heard stories of a species once known for their resilience, a people who had fought against extinction and vanished into deep space centuries ago. Humans. But the Dominion laughed at the myths. To them, humanity was a ghost story, a lost race that burned too bright and too fast before fading into obscurity. Now, under the dim light of a dying sun, the Dominion's soldiers marched through the conquered city, rounding up survivors. A commander in silver armor raised his hand to halt his troops. "End resistance," he barked. "No help will come. They are forgotten." But above the ruins, in the thin edge of orbit, something stirred. A flicker of light blinked in the darkness. Then another and another, until the night sky rippled with silver trails. One of the Dominion observers squinted at the horizon and frowned. "Sir, sensors are detecting gravitational anomalies near the upper atmosphere." "Debris?" the commander asked. "Negative. They're forming patterns, symmetrical formations, multiple contacts." Moments later, the clouds cracked open with a sound like the heavens tearing apart. Descending through the storm came shapes that the galaxy had not seen in over 400 years. Massive hulls forged from black alloy, edges glowing faint blue as plasma drives burned against gravity. Their designs were angular, almost predatory, moving with the precision of coordinated purpose. The lead vessel bore no insignia known to the Dominion, only a simple emblem engraved across its armor, a circle encircling a starburst. The Dominion commander stared in disbelief. "Identify those ships." No one could. The fleet spoke not in words, but in the language of thunder. Bolts of plasma lanced downward, vaporizing orbital drones in a flash of white light. The Dominion's communication channels erupted with panic as wave after wave of energy blasts shredded their carriers. The invaders who thought themselves gods watched as their own sky was filled with light too bright to comprehend. Within the flagship Resolute Dawn, Captain Aaron Vale stood before a holographic display showing the battle's unfolding chaos. His crew moved with quiet focus, their faces hard with the calm of disciplined fury. "Target grids Alpha through Delta are clear," said the tactical officer, Dominion fleet strength diminishing rapidly. Vale's voice was steady. "No quarter for those who burned the colonies. Proceed with suppression protocols." The humans had returned, not as refugees or explorers, but as the storm itself. Years ago, when Earth's colonies had been destroyed in the first great wave of alien conquest, humanity had fled beyond mapped space, following rumors of ancient gateways hidden in forgotten systems. For centuries, nothing was heard. The galaxy moved on, convinced the species had vanished forever. But in the silence, humanity had rebuilt. They had learned. They had forged an empire not in marble halls, but in the forge of necessity, an empire of steel and stars. And now, they had come back. The Resolute Dawn and her fleet carved through the Dominion formation with relentless precision. Drones deployed from their bays like silver insects, darting between the hulks of burning vessels. Every strike was calculated, every beam measured, minimizing collateral damage while dismantling the enemy's command structure. Down below, on the surface of Calvarus, the people who had once given up hope looked to the skies. They saw fire falling like rain, not to destroy them, but to burn away their chains. In the streets of the capital, a young officer named Wren watched as Dominion troops scrambled in confusion. The ground trembled with distant explosions, the air pulsing with the roar of engines. One of the soldiers raised his weapon toward the sky. "What is that?" he whispered. Wren answered without taking his eyes off the heavens. "That is humanity." The first human ground transports broke through the cloud layers moments later. Sleek dropships descended amid the chaos. their hulls glinting with the light of battle. As they landed, their ramps hissed open, releasing squads of armored soldiers whose exosuits glowed faintly with blue kinetic energy. They moved with silent efficiency, their helmets reflecting the flames of the battlefield. Their commander raised a fist, signaling halt. "Secure civilians, neutralize hostiles, let them know they are not alone anymore." Within minutes, Dominion troops began to fall back. Their superior numbers meant nothing against precision and experience. The humans fought like they had done this before, like every war they had ever lost had taught them something. Above the battle, Dominion command ships tried to regroup. The sky turned into a web of tracer fire and explosions. But for every Dominion cruiser destroyed, the humans advanced another kilometer closer to planetary command. "Communications intercept," reported a Dominion officer, his voice trembling. They're using old Earth frequencies." The Dominion admiral's eyes widened. "That's impossible. Humanity is extinct." But then the transmission came through, calm, clear, unmistakably human. "This is the United Terran Vanguard. You have attacked protected systems and enslaved their people. Withdraw immediately or be removed." The Dominion fleet responded with defiance, launching every remaining weapon they had. The humans didn't flinch. Their ships shimmered with energy fields that bent reality around them, absorbing and redirecting the enemy fire. The resolute Dawn advanced through the flames, her cannons igniting in return with blinding precision. The orbital control arrays of the Dominion shattered in bursts of light. One after another, their ships fell silent, either crippled or annihilated. In less than an hour, a force that had enslaved half a quadrant was broken. When the last Dominion carrier fell, the human fleet didn't celebrate. They simply moved on, methodical, exacting, unstoppable. Their purpose was not vengeance, but restoration. Captain Vale stood at the observation deck, gazing down at Calvaris. "Signal the relief ships," he said quietly. "Begin reconstruction protocols. Send a message to every free world. The Terran Empire has returned." The words spread like fire. Across the galaxy, enslaved colonies and broken alliances whispered the same phrase: "Humanity is back." For the first time in generations, the Dominion faced fear not from rebellion, but from the echo of thunder that came from beyond their reach. They had built their empire believing they were alone at the top. Now that illusion was shattered. Weeks later, the Calvaris people gathered in the Great Plaza, where the ruins had been cleared and banners of freedom now fluttered. The air smelled of renewal, the sound of rebuilding filling the space where silence had once reigned. Commander Wren approached the human envoy who had remained on the planet. "We thought no one would come," Wren said softly. The envoy smiled, a quiet, knowing smile. "We heard you. It just took us time to get back." In the distance, the resolute Dawn rose through the atmosphere, her engines trailing silver fire. Above her, dozens of human ships orbited like watchful sentinels. They carried no arrogance, no declarations of supremacy, only the unspoken promise that those who stood against tyranny would never stand alone again. The Dominion, broken and humiliated, retreated to the edge of known space. In their halls, whispers spread of how the lost humans had returned with technology beyond comprehension: quantum shift drives, dark energy weaponry, adaptive nanoforges. They called it impossible, unnatural. But deep down, they understood. Humanity had not vanished. It had evolved. In the months that followed, a new order began to rise. The Terran Empire did not conquer worlds. They liberated them. They rebuilt what had been destroyed, teaching once enslaved civilizations how to defend themselves. To many, they were saviors. To the remnants of the Dominion, they were judgment made manifest. And everywhere the thunder rolled, a message followed. Never again would the galaxy forget the strength of humankind. Years later, stories would be told to children across countless worlds, of the day when the sky burned and the forgotten race returned like the storm, of ships that moved like light itself, and soldiers who fought not for conquest but for justice. They would speak of a moment that changed everything, a moment that reminded the galaxy what it meant to fight for hope. They thought no one would come. But humanity had always come back, and when they did, they came like thunder,